Alright guys, so I figured I'd talk about another idea that's been kind of stewing in my head, but not really enough about it to do a whole story, but as always I like giving you guys the general plot and see what you guys think of it all. So yeah, as you can see, Code Lyoko and Terminator. Yeah, and I actually had a very interesting idea, like a big endgame, that would connect Xana and Skynet. So, the story is that a Terminator has been sent back in time to supposedly hunt down the Lyoko crew, because in the future, after Judgment Day, they're going to be the head of the French they're going to be the heads of the French resistance. You gotta remember that it wasn't just John Connor alone fighting, fighting the Terminators. It was a whole group of global people. You know, there were other people outside of America that did survive Judgment Day, and Ulrich, Yumi, Aelita, Jeremy, and Odd became the, eventually became the heads of the resistance in France. And, they kept in close touch with John Connor. And equally, they became just as much of a threat to Skynet as John did. So they've sent a T-800 Terminator to hunt down and destroy these, to hunt down the heads of the French resistance. However, something happened. The Terminator, before it could even complete its mission, someone or something found out its existence and, captured it. That person being Xana. Xana took control of the T-800, and from there, Xana realized, hey, wait a minute, you're way too advanced to be a machine from this timeline, so where are you from? Turns out that Xana cracks into the mind of Skynet, and Xana discovers, Judgment Day and Skynet and the Terminators in general. So he plans to basically use this Terminator as like an oracle to tell him everything about the future, or the history of the future, as well as he gets an idea. What if he could replace Skynet in the future? And that's what he plans to do, because at this point Skynet is still in its infancy and it hasn't really become self-aware yet. Whereas Xana can actually break he can actually attack Skynet and overwhelm it and take its and take control of it, thus becoming the new threat of he literally changes the timeline. Making it so that with Skynet gone, Xana becomes after taking control of Skynet, Xana not only takes control of Skynet, but everything that Skynet was connected to, and starts Judgment Day way too early. He starts it way too early, and he literally changes everything to to basically become that he is the new Xana is the new Skynet, and from there he's actually now in control of Terminators who have been upgraded with his monsters' weaponry. The monsters he uses, I mean. And yeah, he's won. Skynet already had humanity on the ropes, but Xana's taken it one step further because he changed the timeline. He managed to wipe out John Connor in Judgment Day because they weren't prepared for it. Because it was supposed to be in one date, but Xana jump-started Judgment Day way too soon. So the story is that now the remnants of the French resistance, aka a time-displaced Odd, Odd has to go, future Odd has to go back in time, save himself and his past friends, and through a series of events, what happens is that Xana is defeated by a good old return to the past, and actually, we cut to the future. This is how I kind of set up the ending for the story, is that we cut to the future, and we discover that because of Skynet's encounter with Xana, now it knows how to do time travel, where they changed the timeline so that when Xana attacked Skynet this time was prepared for it, and Skynet overpowered Xana, and this time around, this is how it learned time travel in the first place. This is how Skynet learned to use time travel, because they never really said how, Skynet managed to create time travel. They were I think they did kind of in Terminator, but they never went too far into it. So I kind of figured, well, the supercomputer can do a return to the past thing. So what if Skynet got control of it, got control of that machinery, and not only did that, but also did Skynet reversed engineered it, as well as, learned how to enhance it. Just instead of going back one day, you can go back a long ass time and use it as a way of, oh, in case anything goes wrong, I can do this. So there you go. There's my explanation of how Skynet would learn time travel. It learned it from Xana, who attacked it first and tried to change the future. Yeah, time travel is weird. I think I made a better version of Genesis than what Genesis tried. Yeah. So, yeah, that was kind of the loose idea, was that the end game would be that the end game of this story would be, this is how Skynet would be my headcanon of how Skynet learned how to manipulate time travel. That was pretty much the story in a nutshell. But as for getting from point A to point B is totally different. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is that it's a lot different. It's easy to think it out, but when you're sitting there going, how the hell do I get from point A to point B? And that's kind of what I've always said about a lot of these stories I talk about, is that there's so many good ideas to these. It's just, trying to cross the Rubicon and, make it all work out. There are tons of ideas in my head where I've thought, oh, that'd be so cool. How the fuck do I do that? That's kind of how it's really been for me for the longest time. So, yeah, that's kind of how it's been. But yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. I mean, this kind of makes sense when you really think about it. Having Xana versus Skynet, and and Xana changing the future. Yeah, that would be something he would do. So yeah, there you go. There's my idea for a Code Lyoko Terminator crossover. You guys tell me, what do you guys think of this? You guys like it? You guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.